Floss Tube. Welcome to my channel, Stitching in South Jersey. My name is Debbie, and today is Wednesday, October the 15th, 2025. Not much left of 2025, right? This is Floss Tube number 13, my September stitching update. Wasn't planning on doing this today. Should be working. I'm not working. I'm talking to you. Thank you for all the comments, the likes, the subscribes. I do notice a funny trend, and maybe if there's another floss tuber watching, they can either disclaim what I think I'm about to say, or affirm it. I notice that when I post floss tubes, if I am holding a project, I get more views than if I am not in the thumbnail. In my last floss tube, which was probably part of the Hot Mess Express that I've been on lately, and way too long, we will not do that this week. There was a hello from Liz Matthews, Quaker Pumpkins, over my shoulder in my dining room. This is a Shannon Christine, I'm just using this as an example, but this is a Shannon Christine pumpkin spice right there. And so I didn't really feel the need to hold anything for the thumbnail, but what I suspect, or what I've found in my long year of research, just kidding, is that if I am actually holding a project in my hands, regardless of what is around me, I get more views than if I'm not. We all know you get more views during a whip parade. That's obvious, right? So, I don't know. But, I mean, I did okay, but not as many people watching as the last time. But the subscriber number went up, so I don't think it was that horrible of a video. I don't know. Anyway, just a thought. So, thank you all for that. And now we are 2 minutes in. So no, Joey, forget about it again. He's actually traveling again, but that is not why. It is not his fault, it is mine. He agreed to film a short insert, or at the very end of a video. He didn't want to have to sit here through the whole thing. He hears me talk all the time, and he doesn't listen then. Why would he listen when it's about cross stitch? So, he said, let's just film, like, you know, let's just do this. And I said no, because it was not a makeup day. It was not I'm like, I'm tired, my allergies, I look like I've been beat up. No, we're not doing it. So, not my fault. Not his fault, my fault. So, he will appear. He is not Bigfoot, I swear. So today, let's get right down to it. On the agenda, I have 9 whips from September. I have no past finishes. I feel like because I've been doing this a year, you've now seen anything that was in the past. And my newest fully finished sweater weather, I showed you last month. No new starts, but there is a plan. I have gotten through my Tiny Decisions wheel, and I will be resetting that. And that's part of the plans in a little bit. But let's just get right down to it, shall we? So, first, in September, I worked on, let me put down the pointer, Tulip Easter Egg by Artisy. And I started this on February 19th of this year, so I've not gotten very far. And it's just on 20 count Aida. It's full coverage, so it didn't matter. I didn't need anything crazy. These are not my typical stitching colors, but I really enjoy this. I just have had other focuses, so just didn't, right? Just didn't. Some things had to give. Here's where I'm at. Go Birds. I have a little story for you at the end about the Eagles too. So that's where I am, which is really nowhere. Can't even tell it's a tulip, but it is. 2 tulips, actually. So maybe spring or winter, right? Chase those winter blues away. So that was that. I've decided, I've evolved since I've been doing Floss Tube. So I want to have content, right? So I want to average, if I average 9 or 10 whips a month, that gets me through all of my whips 2 full times plus a little more for a year. But what I've also discovered was when I first started doing floss tubes, I was like, okay, 3 days on this one and 3 days on this one and 3 days on this one. And that's a little counterproductive, although it sounds like it is productive. It's counterproductive because if I'm getting close to a page finish on something and I want to finish that page, it is counterproductive to put it down after 2 days because I have to jump to something else. So what I decided is if I'm moving along on something or I'm getting close to some sort of page finish or motif finish or whatever, I'm going to keep going until I find a good stopping place. And I'll just take it away from something else in the month. Tulip Easter egg was one of those. There's no big monumental thing happening with that. So I had to pull back on that a little bit, and you'll see things that has happened too. And then you'll see other things that I've really made progress. Okay, so next, looking at my notes, hoity-toity, long dog samplers. I love this. I know Brenda, Handwork Maniac, changed a lot of the colors, and I loved her colors, her color conversion, but I was a little too far in at that point. I had already done like a lot of the top up here. I'm like, and now that I see it coming along, I'm perfectly happy with it. I'm glad I didn't go to the trouble to change it. And here's where I am. This got a lot of work this month because I really wanted to finish in here, but I had to give it up. What I discovered was this is one of those projects that I had not touched in 2025. So I could not figure out why. Here's my theory. My theory is that I worked on it at the end of 2024. So it came up on that wheel reset for the end of 2024. I think I reset like October and November. So then that took me to whatever it took me to, April or May. It now came up at the very end on this wheel before I had to reset again. So I had no 2025 calendar. So I'd worked on it 0 days in 2025. So I felt like it needed a little love, and I was really making good progress, and I was reluctant to put it down, but there were other things that also needed attention. And as Joey Forget About It says, oh, how cute. You have cross-stitch problems. I said, yeah, honey, I do. But really, I was thinking about the theory behind why I hadn't worked on it and statistically how that's possible. But okay, let's go with I have cross-stitch problems. Okay, that works too. But I did figure out why. And that's why I think anything that I did at the end of 2024 and then the wheel reset, say April, then it came up at the end of that wheel reset is the reason why. There's something else in here too, and I'll know it when I get to it. I just can't remember notes. They're only as good as those who write them. Next is Ornaments All Around, Glendon Place, stitched on 18 count Heritage by Picture This Plus. Oh, if I didn't tell you, let me go back. I was so busy talking about my cross stitch problem that I didn't tell you. This is stitched on 18 count Regency by Picture This Plus, and I started it December 29th, 2021. It was a Christmas present that year. Okay. Glendon Place, Ornaments All Around, stitched on 18 count Heritage. Did I just say that? Hoity Toity's on Regency. This is on Heritage. I started this April 10th, 2022. And hang on, let me figure out. I honestly cannot figure out which way is up on this. Oh, this is up. So I'm on the next page. this page. This, you could clearly see a page break. So, and the funny thing was that when I had the wrong next page ready to go. I knew I had to start a new page, and it was not this page. And I was like, that's weird. Those ornaments look a little strange. So I went back and I pulled out all the originals because I make myself a working copy. And when I looked at all the originals, I was like, oh, that's why. Wrong order. I don't know. Okay, next, Scenic Farm by Dimensions. Could they possibly make this smaller, do you think? Love this. It is kit everything. I started this April 8th, 2020. Here is where I am. So I finished the sky, and then I started working on, I'm pretty sure these are trees. Are they trees? Let's go with yes. That's a lot of stitching. I really gave this some time, and it doesn't look like it, but that is actually a fair amount of stitching. That probably was days of stitching. But I love this one. You know, big Dimensions fan, you know that. So I didn't give it as much time as I would have liked, but time seems to be of the essence. I've been running behind, so you'll see my last one, which is Sleepy Hollow, and it's still on my frame because I'm actually still working on that, but I'm counting it for September because that is the list that it was on. But I was just, I don't even remember what I was doing. If you remember, tell me in the comments what I was doing that got me so far behind. I may have mentioned it last month. Moving on. Next, Christmas quilts with the worst photo ever taken of any cross-stitch design ever. Saw this hanging in Needleworker's Delight in North Jersey. He is no longer open, Jim. He does a lot of pop-ups and trunk shows and that kind of thing. This was hanging in the back of the store. When I saw it, I had to have it. Would never have looked at this otherwise. Never. And I made some changes on this, and here it is. So let me show you where I'm working and where the changes are. So these colors, I have my ring light up because the sun is unpredictable right now. So I'm working here, and it's a lot of green, green, green. You see a lot of red and green, like you can't tell, but there's pops of other colors in here and up here. But anyway, I didn't think there was enough. I thought it was time for another pop of color because the quilt right next to it is green because it's a Christmas tree. We'll get that later. I'll just pick that up later, hopefully. It'll be fine. It's all fine. So I changed it to, good question. One of the classic Colorworks, I meant to force myself to get this color out, and I didn't. It is a purple, I don't know if you could see, a very nicely variegated purple, followed by a nicely variegated pink. And I am almost positive that they are classic Colorworks. And if you want to know, I will put it in the comments. But I just felt like it's one of the colors that is used elsewhere in this design, but they don't use the blues and the purples for any big elements. And I feel like they're beautiful. And there's a couple of the pinks and a couple of the blues. I think it's one blue, but a couple of purples. And I felt like they deserve their due. So I did it in here, and I'm not sad about it. So that is Christmas Quilts, Rosewood Manor. It is stitched on an 18-count Smoky White Ada by Zweigart. And I started this one September 8th, 2020. I can remember being in Needleworker's Delight in a mask. But they were open. So I'm good to be in the mask, right? Back when we were in the dark ages. Okay, next. Cooler Designs, Wine and Cheese. This was a Christmas gift from someone. This is stitched on 18 count Heartland by Picture This Plus. And I started it February 22nd, 2022 and made color changes because this is very lemon limey to me and very light blue sky. No, just didn't. You know, I feel like when you're talking about wine and cheese, it should be olives and whatever. So you'll see that I made some changes, but boy, it gets a little, people that convert their colors all the time, I give you a lot of credit. I really have to like focus to make sure that I am using my own color conversion. So here it is. So I changed this to an olive and like a cranberry. Like you could see the cranberry wall behind me. And because I am stitching this on Heartland, right now I am going to leave this negative space. It is not negative space. It is actually yellow. Yellow. Under no circumstances is it going to be yellow. I feel like that's not really what this is about for me. But if I don't like the negative space, I will fill it in with something. But that's going to be a end of the project decision. And I suspect by the time I'm done this project, I'm going to be done. I worked very little on this. Like I said, something has to give. I just did this. But I'm just about done. I think there's something right here. And then this page is done. So I am making progress. I feel like, I have to say, I feel like this year I'm making some progress. Like I feel like next year I could have some real finishes. Okay, next. Autumn in the Village by Stony Creek. I have them all. Spring in the Village, Winter in the Village, Summer in the Village. And if you've been with me from the beginning, you know that I have had some problems with this. Sorry, my eyes are so itchy from allergies. The problems I've had are, I started stitching this I don't know why it says November 12th, 2025. We haven't actually gotten there. It's probably November 12th, maybe 2020, maybe 2019. But this is on 14 count, just Ivory Ada by Zweigart. I would not do it again this way. I would make it a nicer fabric because you do see it, and I would have done this because they're autumn colors. I would have done it in a nice autumny something. Lesson learned. The other three will not come out this way, but so I worked on this, the grocer. It should say groceries up there, but I save a lot of the words to the end so I don't pull them out when they're in the Q-snap. I know, no taping. That tells you how long ago it is. I'm going to go with 2018 or maybe 2019 at the latest. But I finished the whole grocery store. And actually, I had no idea what I was stitching. But now that I'm standing here holding it, looking at you, I can see what these are. That's very cool. This is a motherload of backstitch when it's finished. But here's the crazy thing. Okay, so you see the grocery store, right? Grocery store. This is it. These two right here. I am going to have this hanging on the wall next fall. I'm going to. I will make it a focus if I need to. And I feel like that's what 2026 is going to be for me. Like, push through. It's literally one more page. I'm just about done. There's a little bit of this building still on the page I'm on. And then this building and the light post and the bush and the tree. And then it'll probably be forever of back stitching, but it will certainly, it really makes it pop. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be fine. I was too far along to change fabrics, but the fabric that goes with the season or the mood is definitely the way to go on that. Okay, next is Sleepy Hollow by Glendon Place. This is stitched on the called for 14 count Haunted by Picture This Plus, and I started this December 18th of 2019. And this one, huge progress. So I'm starting to work on that, and I'm taking the moon in chunks. That's in a Karen Water Lilies Lemon Lime, I think it's called. And then I have to do, like in here, maybe like right in here, let's say. And then I'm almost done. I have a little bit of the border to go, and then the words. I gave some thought to leaving the words off, just because I don't care one way or the other about the words, but I kind of feel like that it really lends itself to the design. So, sorry, I just got a text message. Joey, forget about it. It's plane just landed. Thank God he has to take his boss home, or otherwise you would, in fact, be meeting Joey, forget about it, because where am I? I am right outside of Philadelphia. So what does that make me? Right outside of the Philadelphia airport. Probably about 25 minutes, 20 minutes. Anyway, and we certainly can't let him see the super secret project. So, whole plan with this. Y'all know it. You may love it. You may hate it. 99 by Ink Circles. 99 bottles of beer on the wall. Seems to be a fan favorite for sure. I just had my meetup last night with my craft group, and they could not believe the progress that I had made. So, and then I'm going to tell you the funny story because it's ridiculousness that I did not figure this out until I was on bottle 80. But anyway, I didn't, so sorry. But not sorry to you. You know, it's no skin off your nose. It's just me. So here I am. I am now on the last page, and there's 5 bottles across times 3. 15 bottles to go. The next time you see this, it will be framed, because my goal is to have it finished by November 1st, and I am going to spend the rest of October working on that. I'm still going to spin the wheel, still going to do all of that, but I'm not going to do anything else until I get this done. So now here's the little trick I learned. Somewhere around, I don't know, down here somewhere, or whatever, this bottom row in the middle, I realized something. Part of the delay, the slowness of this project, are all of the color changes, right? Because these bottles are little, and they might each have 6 colors. So stop, start, stop, start. What I realized was a lot of the bottles carry through the same colors. So like, for instance, just using this for instance, this green in both of these bottles, I did at one time. Why was I reading the rules that said you can only stitch a bottle at a time? Why wasn't I reading the rules that said nobody's ever going to see the back of this project, so go ahead and carry a little thread if you need to? So on the previous row, I think I did across like 4, not the previous row, like what you can't see, it's covered. But I did like 4 across, and honestly, it's not that much carrying, and sometimes I need to stop in the middle. So I don't do it if it's like in a weird spot or what, you know, I don't do that. But these 2, it probably took me the same amount of time to do these 2 as it took me to do 1 normally, which I think I said I'm doing them about 1 an hour. If I'm only doing that, I'm not distracted, and none of the things are happening. So I believe that it is a reasonable goal to have this completed by November the 1st and immediately off to the framer. And, will that feel good? But just carrying a little bit of thread. So ironically, I discover this, right? And in true Debbie fashion, I start up here. So this is, you know, it's 3 rows, like I said, 5 across. This one has none of the colors that any other bottle in this row have. Not one. They don't share 1 stitch of the same color. This does not share one stitch of the same color of the next 4. However, the next 4 share several of the same colors. So in theory, one good stitching session of maybe 3 or 4 hours, I could have this row done. So my goals, we all have to have goals, right? That's my goal. And you're gonna hold me to it because I know my craft group's kind of tired of saying it since 2019. And what'd you get done? Nothing. So I also made the mistake of only stitching it if Joey forget about it's on a business trip, or if I'm at the craft group or whatever. And I realized that way slowed me down. And I told him that he doesn't know what it is or what he's getting. And I've almost slipped many times saying, oh, I completed a row of bottles or whatever. Stupid, right? All this secret, all this time. But he said to me, in all fairness, I don't come anywhere near your stitching chair. I don't look at what's on your stand. I don't look at the pattern, like I hang it from my light. He's like, I don't ever go over there. He said, but if you're worried, he said, I can't read that pattern anyway, which I think he's wrong. I think if he stood far enough back, he'd know what it was. He said, throw like a dish towel or something over it. He's like, and I promise I won't look. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to work on it every day. I'm just going to leave it there. You know, we live in the same house. We're always in the same rooms, but I just can't work on it when he's here. But we used to I used to stitch at night and we would listen to like podcasts or whatever, but we haven't been doing that lately. We've kind of been binge watching things. So my only stitching comes early in the morning and then later in the day, like 4:30, 5 o'clock. And he's been going to the gym after work. So I get like an extra hour. So that's getting done. Okay. So did I show you Sleepy Hollow? Oh, interesting. I showed you Sleepy Hollow, but I didn't show you Sleepy Hollow. Sorry. Got discombobulated because Joey forget about's plane landed. Here is where I am on Sleepy Hollow. Is that not the mama of all moons right there, right? And then that's the flames of the head. Can't believe I forgot to show you that. Oh my goodness. Let me just say this. Work has been extraordinarily busy. And while I am very blessed and I'm very thankful that I have work and that people trust me to do these big things for them, like sell their house or find them a house, it's sometimes overwhelming for one person because you can't say to a client, sorry, I'm like tied up on this transaction with this client. I'll get back to you at some point. Can't do that, right? So sometimes I stretch me a little thin, and it's mentally draining. But I'm here. We're only 28 minutes in. We're doing good. Okay, who am I watching? I'm watching too many people to stop stitching and write down, but I will give you a few because they stood out to me for one reason or another. Layla Stitches. I watched Layla Stitches Whip Parade. Lots of full coverage. I like me a good full coverage, but I'm not ever going to do a Haid. I'm not going to live long enough, and I'm not going to give up the other whips to do the Haid. But I love seeing them. I love seeing full coverage. Love it. Stitching Across the Smokies. She's new to me, and I am sorry, I did not catch her name. But I will tell you this. I've been stitching a long time, and she also does a lot of full coverage. I do not know that I have even seen some of these projects. And I have certainly not seen anyone else stitching them. So I love that. Like I love that. I did not watch a lot of Floss Tube this week when Joey Forget About It was away, because I could drag all my stuff into the living room and watch YouTube on the big TV, and I didn't. Instead, I found myself watching documentaries on YouTube. So if you ever need to know about the disaster of the Eastland Ferry that happened, I believe, in 1915 in Chicago, I'm your girl. Just ask. Never heard of it before. Was fascinated. I can't explain me sometimes, so I'm not even going to try. I watched a lot of obscure documentaries on YouTube. Another person I'm watching, Artist Designs. She has great finishes, and she went to an estate sale where they reached out to her and said, you know, if you would like to come and do a walkthrough and pick out what you want of our mother's, she was a prolific cross stitcher, of her work before we open it to the public, come through. So she said if she was not restricted by budget, there was so much amazing stuff. But I will tell you, she scored some beautiful items from this estate sale. This woman, whose estate it was an amazing stitcher and an amazing finisher. And they weren't all teddy bears, ducks, and cows like, you know, back in the 80s. And I'm sure the woman was very elderly, I believe. But she was also she stitched some really interesting things. And it wasn't always easy. Like back in the early days, it wasn't always easy to find things that weren't a tablecloth and a dish towel. So, but she did, and her framing was amazing. So, Art Design showed a lot of that, and that was probably one of the most entertaining videos I've watched in a long time, because it just really was very entertaining. And I've noticed another thing about watching Floss Tube. A lot of Floss Tubers, and maybe because it's the time of the year, are in finishing mode right now. They're finishing projects, and they're fully finishing them. And that is really motivating to me. Like, I love that. I love that people are seeing their projects through. And I mean, of course, everybody wants to get something finished, right? You always do. But that's not why I stitch. I probably should have named my channel Stitching for My Sanity. That would be way more accurate than stitching to hang something on my wall. But I feel like everybody's in finish mode. So let's do it, right? Okay, so my future plans. Like I told you, I got through the tiny decisions wheel, so I'm going to reset it. When I reset it, I am going to begin, I showed you this last month, this was haul, Sunflower Inn by Artisy. Adapted from artwork by Thomas Wood. Had this in my cart, I don't even know, 3 years, maybe. I'm going to start it. I know last Floss Tube I said I may start something in each season. I may actually do that. But I kind of feel like, right? Does this not give you fall vibes? I feel like sunflowers. I kind of feel like that's fall. Maybe I'm wrong. But, whoo, there's a lot of pages here. So I think I have the perfect fabric. And I'm just going to use, I assume it calls for DMC. That's what I will be using. I will be using my master set of DMC. And I'm really excited to start that. So, and I'm working on 99 monogamously to finish it by November 1st. I was so excited to show you those beer bottles that I forgot to show you Haunted. So, sorry. Okay, next. So that's really all my plans. Oh, no it isn't. Are we all going to sign up for the Jingle Ball? So here's the crazy thing. I didn't do it last year. I did it the year before. So the second year of the Jingle Ball, I think this is the 4th year. I decided to buy a ticket. I really didn't have a lot of time, and I think I never even went until like Sunday morning. I didn't sign up for any classes. I didn't do the speed dating. I didn't do any of that. But I did do I liked all the meet and greets with the designers. I like they all brought their spouses or whoever helps them. So I thought that was really great. So this time I saw something, Stephanie Webb from Lindy Stitches, who is the Jingle Ball godmother, or the godmother of the fairy godmother of the Jingle Ball, I believe is what she calls herself. She was kind of doing like a preview of designers and projects, and I subscribe to Liz Matthews' newsletter. So she is doing a class on ornaments, in like globe ornaments. And if you've been with me from the beginning, you know my plan last year was to make my daughter a globe ornament. But when I finished stitching it, I would have needed a globe the size of the earth to fit it in. So I went with a, just like I put in a big round hoop, and it's an ornament. She thinks it's too big to be an ornament even. She should have seen that wasn't even close to what I was going for. But I just love like cross stitch under glass, and not in a frame. Like under glass is in a globe. So I think I might take that class. And then, you know, you get all of these, you get for 30 days, you get all of the designs, you get all of the things. So for the $10 for general admission, and then of course the classes are more, I am all about it. In the last, so I'm watching all of this about the Jingle Ball, and Lindy Stitches, Stephanie Webb, starts talking about how since the Super Bowl in February, she has become a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Girl, I am listening to you. I've always loved you, but I love you more. She is talking about Jalen Hurts, our quarterback, and Saquon Barkley. And just a little aside, the Philadelphia Phillies were knocked out of the playoffs. They clinched the National League East. I don't know. So they had a bye week. Not good for them. The bye week was not good. Too much time off. I don't know what the problem was. So they were knocked out by the LA Dodgers in the first set of playoffs. And my dog Killer goes by another name as well, Harper, named after, you guessed it, Bryce Harper, who is a baseball phenom, and he happens to be on the Phillies. So Joey, forget about it in all his infinite wisdom and such raging anger that the Phillies were knocked out of the playoffs, he decided that Harper can now no longer be called Harper, not Bryce, Killer, that we are now required to call her Saquon, as in Saquon Barkley, who is probably the most amazing athlete I've ever seen, regardless of the fact that he's on the Eagles. If you want to see something truly unbelievable, Google his leaping backwards over an opponent during a game last season. I mean, they show it in highlights all the time, but if you have not seen it, you will see this specimen of a human being. I mean, all the time in the gym isn't going to make you that. God gave him that gift, and I think he's humble and he's kind, and now my dog has been renamed Saquon, so I'll just keep calling her Killer. But anyway, back to the Eagles and Lindy Stitches. I told her if she ever comes out this way, I will get her tickets to an Eagles game, because you're either an Eagles fan or you're not. And if you are not, you probably do not belong in the stadium. And if you are, it is like nothing else. So, okay, enough about all that. So, time for It's the Little Things. Nobody gave me a what are you grateful for? What's a little thing you're grateful for? So I will tell you what I am grateful for, and hopefully one of you will tell me what you are grateful for in the comments below. I am grateful for contact lenses that you can throw out at the end of every day, otherwise known as dailies. And why is this? This is because September allergies are so horrible that if you wear 30-day lenses, like I typically do, and you are having allergies, you almost can't get them clean enough. And the minute that you put them back in your eyes start to itch again. So you're not solving any of your problems. Whereas if you use daily lenses, you pop them in the morning, you pop them out at night, you throw them in the trash. And the next day you start with a fresh pair. So you don't get all that build up, which is what makes your eyes itch, right? It's allergies, your eyes itch. So that's what I'm grateful for. Daily contact lenses, even though they have yet to figure out a way to make my prescription one that I do not have to put readers on. So when I wear my 30-day lenses, I don't need readers unless I'm cross-stitching. When I wear the daily lenses, same prescription, my prescription, I have to wear readers. So if you recall, if you watched last month, I had glasses on my head the whole time because you never know when I'm not going to be able to see something. So tell me what you're grateful for. Book talk. Ooh, a lot of books. First one, and my favorite, Downtown Al. I heard it, I listened to it on audiobook by Chuck Klosterman. It follows a young school teacher who moves to this little tiny little backwoods town called Al. And they call it Downtown Al, not because there is a downtown to the town of Al, but because Al is a downtown, meaning they're not doing so good, they're just not. So it's just a story that follows a bunch of characters. There's no mystery. There's no, I'm a mystery girl. No mystery, nothing like that. It's just what it is. Super interesting and quite a surprise ending. Worth it. So that's one. The Reappearance of Rachel Price, I read in book form by Holly Jackson. Very interesting book. It is a mystery. It is about a mom who disappeared when her daughter was like 3. So the daughter was raised by, or maybe she was 5, whatever. She's raised by her dad. And he takes money for a documentary on the disappearance of Rachel Price. Rachel Price is his wife. But he needs money. His father's going into a home. So he's like, sure, we could do a documentary and revisit it. And this is not a spoiler. Rachel reappears. Reappearance of Rachel Price. That's the mystery. That is where the mystery actually begins. Not even on her vanishing, but on her reappearance. So really good. Recommend. Very unique. The House on Cold Creek Lane by Liz Alterman. Really good story told in 2 voices, 2 protagonists. I loathed both of these characters. It is a mystery. Loathed to the point that I realized and told Joey forget about it, that the reason I came back every day from Walking Killer, because I listened to it on audiobook, was because this book put me in a bad mood. Because I hated both of these women. Like, there was no redeeming quality to either one. One was too, like, I don't care, in your face. And the other one was like a little mouse. Couldn't deal with either one. But really good story. So, try not to get in a bad mood. But I did. Oh, God, it was awful. One more. True Crime Story by Joseph Knox. It's about a college freshman. I also did this on audiobook, who walks out of a party on campus and is never seen again. It reads like true crime. It is actually fiction. It reads like true crime. And I Googled it to make sure, and it literally, first thing that came up is, fans are asking, is this a true story? It isn't. He's just telling it like he is the author for real and in the book. So it's like a mystery in a mystery kind of thing. Also really good. Listen to that on audiobook as well. I think I told you. Binge talk. What am I binging? So, I have my favorites, but I can't really call them a binge, right? Like, I like Murder in a Small Town. I like Matlock. I like High Potential. But those I watch weekly. not when they're actually on, but I go back and watch them. But we watched something called The Jetty, and that was really good. It's a mystery, and it stars, if I'm remembering this correctly, forgive me if I'm wrong, I believe this is the one that stars Riley Keough, who is Elvis Presley's granddaughter, Lisa Marie Presley's daughter, oldest daughter. I believe that's the one. It was really good. It was just, you know, I mean, we're mid-October. I feel like we watched that maybe the end of the summer, the beginning of September. So, but it was good. So go back and watch it. So I asked what your unicorn was. I told you what mine was last month. Birch Point, Charles Wysocki, done by Dimensions. And I can find it. I'm not paying $100 for it. I have a lot of projects just calling my name to start that I already own. But I saw Pam from Pam and Steph finished it several years ago, and I was so fascinated by it. A little less fascinated now because I'm doing Cozy Cove, and it's kind of similar. So I could probably, so I guess I don't really have a unicorn anymore. A few of you mentioned Teresa Wensler patterns, which is interesting. Talk about a resurgence. Talk about a 90s. I mean, I have at least one Teresa Wensler book, and that was just, she was everywhere. And I feel like a lot of the young stitchers only know about Teresa Wensler because there's been a Teresa Wensler resurgence. So a few of you mentioned that. And then someone mentioned charts by C.A. Wells that she believed were only given out during classes that the designer taught. Never heard of C.A. Wells, but if anybody can hook her up with something or tell her where to look, that would be great. I have no idea what they look like, what they're supposed to look like, whatever. So that is it. We are at 47 minutes, and we're going to call it right now because we do not want Joey Forget About It coming in the door and ruining my shot, and then I have to start all over. And I also have to hide the super secret project before he gets home. So I will either see you next month. Well, I will see you next month. But if I cannot figure out a way to add Joey Forget About It's cameo appearance to one of my, to either this Floss Tube or next month's, I will do like a Floss Tube extra, which will probably be a 10-minute, 5 minutes, something like that. But I will get him to reappear, and if he agrees, again, I'll just go put on a little mascara and we'll just call it. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate all your likes and subscribes and comments and advice and participation. I really, really, really do. And like I said, I stitch for my sanity, but it's fun to share it with other people who may also stitch for their sanity. So have a great month. Enjoy Halloween, and I will see you next month. Bye.